to Patty for our training. So, the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted for the right of the public to advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies, at which time any business affecting their interests is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Board of Education Policy 0162, Board of Education of the Borough of Bound Brook has caused notice of this meeting to be posted in the board office and at Bound Brook High School and mailed or faxed to the Courier News, Bound Brook Borough Clerk, South Bound Brook Board of Education, and any person who has requested individual notice and paid the required fee. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Gorski.
Yes, sir. Mr. Bell.
Here.
Mr. Dawson.
Here.
Ms. Santino. Calcaterra. Here. Mr. Zupko. Ms. Moosen.
Here.
Mr. Minhas.
Here.
Ms. Hyde.
Here.
Mr. Bowman. Here. And Mr. Januzi.
Here.
Mr. Board President, you have a quorum present this evening.
There you go. In the interest of time, I will keep my comments brief. I will say welcome again to Ms. Patty Reese, who's here from NJSBA to train us tonight, and acknowledge that hopefully this is the training that puts us over the threshold for Carol E. Larson Master Board Certification. So very exciting, very happy to have you here, Patty, with us tonight, and to learn more about our role in student achievement. So Patty, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Welcome.
It's two
Does anybody?
yesterday.
I got it.
All right, thank you for having me tonight. And as far as the board certification, when I looked, it looks like the only thing you have left to do is your board self-evaluation.
We've definitely done one.
Yeah, it's supposed to be every year, but at least do
You guys didn't
there's
do this? I did.
just revise the board self-evaluation so it reflects more of what a board currently does.
Sure.
It should be up and running in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But just go ahead and do that. But I mean, you have the credits, and I'm running it by Gwen, just to make sure that
Cross the Ts and dot the Is.
yeah, well, and to see about the board self-evaluation, because I, if she has any record of it.
Yeah, we did it I'm almost sure we did it in 24 in the summer.
We did
When we did the
23 in the summer.
superintendent evaluation, I'm pretty sure we did a self-evaluation as well.
Well, you need to, the requirements call for more than 1 year. So either way, just if you could do that, but it looks like you have everything else that's necessary.
Great.
So by the spring, you could have that.
Is there any ways that you or us could double check to make sure, because
I'll take that as an action date. Yeah, I just-
Okay. I don't think
So
Who's holding us
as
back?
I was preparing for this presentation, the board's, role in student achievement, I looked at your strategic plan, I looked at your district goals, and I looked at your board goals, and then your vision and mission. Like this should be a refresher course for you, because they all align and there's all, in every one of them, there's something about improving student achievement. So you really already understand the concept of what a board needs to do for student achievement. So if some of this sounds familiar or old school, it is, because you already function at that level for student achievement. And that's very impressive. Not every board is as cohesive, and the goals should all align, but they don't always, right? There's other things that come in that, but yours, every step of everything aligns one to the other, which is as it should be for a high-functioning board and a high-functioning district. So your students benefit from you already being at those levels.
there's a PowerPoint.
Get to where?
On the side, there's a slider. You're gonna have to turn, yes,
That's it.
there you go.
That does it. Turn it off. It's always helpful. All right. So we consider, student achievement to be, we consider a systems approach in student achievement. And scores that are considered leaders in public education for student achievement, support conditions that empower students to meet rigorous standards that they set. They align their resources to support student achievement, and they foster a culture of that supports professional learning, not only for your staff, but also for school board, which, when I looked at your credits, you have a lot of credits, so this was actually, you already exceeded the credits to get your certification except for that. So you need 16 credits. What I looked at today, you're at 22, be 23 after tonight. So you'll be halfway to the Carol Larson Master Board certification once we do that. So we'll look at that. And there are very few school boards. There are not a lot of school boards who are certified, but there's even less that have the master certification. And that's just something you could work for. Okay. So effective school boards define clear goals for student achievement and classroom instruction based on your high expectations that every student can succeed and can achieve. You also believe that challenges to student learning can be overcome, and you accept no excuses. Challenges such as poverty, whatever those challenges might be, and different in every district, but you accept that every student can succeed. At some level, every student can succeed. When it's at my back, I'm like, is it actually progressing? An effective school board makes sure that the district goals remain a top priority. And as I said, I looked at all of your goals, district strategic, and they are. They are all aligned, and they remain a priority, and that's really wonderful. Board members should understand and be able to explain what the improvement initiatives are. And promote a system-wide focus on school renewal is always important. Effective school boards in improving or increasing student achievement are use data to inform their policies and are accountability driven. I mean, and again, you already have this. You establish a vision that targets student achievement, and yours does. I think I put it in your packet. You avoid micromanaging. You allow the superintendent and the administration to define what is necessary to increase student achievement, and then the board needs to support that. Whatever level you can. You embrace and use and monitor data, student data on achievement, using it as a tool, and you identify specific learning needs through the analysis of your data, and you just discuss it regularly. It's important for a board to nurture a collaborative relationship with your staff and the community, and have a strong communication process, which what I've looked at, you have.
I mean, not to interrupt you, I think you do a relatively good job, especially between board and administration. We're always looking for opportunities to improve our communication. Just like other districts, we encourage people that actually come out to the meeting. They tend to be relatively dry. Dr. Freeman has done some really nice things to education community and help them certainly celebrate as many successes as we can. As we go through, if you have tips, suggestions, or examples of other districts that you think have done a really
nice job you've left to get done.
You know, it really is. It is a challenge, I think, for every school district to engage your community, especially, you know, in the world of two working parents, and everybody's just overloaded. But I think the more avenues you have for communication, and that, you know, they can, or your meetings are streamed, and so they can view the meeting at any point in time. But also when I looked at your strategic plan, and I see that it's up this year, I think, the one.
We actually just redid it.
Oh, you just redid it, okay, I took the one from your website, which is great, because that one had a lot of community input. And that's also a good way to engage the community and listen to what you know, what they want for their schools. And I will tell you, I'm facilitating 4 strategic plans right now. And it runs the gamut of how many residents show up. Some I have maybe, I did one where there was less than 10 people. And then one out in Warren County that had over 50 people. A K-8. And so it really does just run the gamut. And it just, people are just very busy. So as long as you provide as many avenues as you can, and the website is easy to navigate, I think will help keep your public informed. I mean, it's never a perfect picture. When I was on my board, before the age of streaming, we televised our meetings live from, you know, early 2000s. And so I know that people watched them because you would eventually get a text message or something. But the only time, historically, right, the only time people come out to a board meeting is when there's something they either don't like or they like a lot and want to continue. It's the struggle of all segments. We talk about engaging all stakeholders in the setting of goals, and you've done that with your strategic plan. As I said, this is kind of like a refresher to kind of say, well, you already do this, you know, which is great. As I said, your students will benefit from having a board like yours. And, you know, part of the process is periodic reporting out of progress towards district goals and any other information. You know, when you're data that comes in for student achievement, whatever testing that might be, reporting out at a board meeting so it's available to the public. So even when there are budget challenges, an effective school board keeps student achievement as a priority. And we all know that budget challenges are every year, and they're only getting more challenging in this world. But keeping student achievement as a priority really is the best way to help your children actually achieve.
How do we do that?
I didn't hear what you
The
said.
question was, how do we do that?
How do you do that? You work with your administration and what they've identified as necessary, and sometimes it's about checks and balances or things that you can and can't do. But you know, I think your administration is well aware of what your budgetary constraints are, and so when they bring something to the board, I'm sure it's well researched and, you know, for your consideration.
Yeah, it goes back to just making purposeful choices with scarce
Yeah.
resources, right? And that the budget reflects.
We definitely have done that,
Yeah, exactly.
but
Can we
our
do more?
resources just keep getting cut and more mandates come in and it's getting harder and harder.
That's true.
I mean, and they're gonna look at the school funding formula again.
I know.
So
That's why I asked.
we'll see how that actually
We're
plays out.
finally funded. We were the #1 underfunded district in New Jersey.
Brook was the #1 underfunded district in New Jersey during Christie's administration, and we're finally able to fully fund, and now it's being ripped out.
Yeah.
Potentially from under.
Challenge with the funding formula is it's such a political hot potato.
But our kids aren't.
You know, and hope that the legislators get it. But then again, it's a political hot potato.
But our kids aren't. But our kids aren't political.
Talked about being a united team with your superintendent and the board, and that you build a system of shared knowledge and values towards your improvement efforts. And I mean, I feel odd doing this because you get this already. You do.
You can always learn more, though. That's why we invited you here.
Oh, yeah.
And I think student achievement is the one thing that we've all been able to get behind. And that's why you see it so pervasively in everything we do. But by the same token, we always know that we can do better.
Yeah.
And so for the things that we've checked off already, great.
Yeah.
And, you know, even if we only learn 1 or 2 new things here, it'll just make us that much.
Well, and hopefully we'll reinforce your commitment to student achievement. Because we all want our kids to achieve to the best that they can. And that you know, at whatever level that might be. And whatever we can do to help them do that is really what's important. Because it's a hard world once you get out of school. A harsh world of realities. But if you provide for them expect of them high levels of achievement, and we provide the means for that to happen, we're just giving them a leg up in the world, you know, giving them a nice space to start with. And that's really what we want for our kids, right? So high achieving districts maintain high expectations of professional development, not only for your staff, but also for the board, which you already do. Feel like I'm repeating, and that professional learning is for staff is job embedded and student achievement focused, and then creating frequent opportunities for staff as well as the board. A board that's focused on student achievement creates an environment where mutual trust exists between the superintendent and the board. You define a vision for your district that is shared by the superintendent and the board. And I realize the seek superintendents who match the district's vision. You already have that. You don't need to seek that. You already have somebody that does that. To be effective a board needs to set time aside to plan and discuss student learning needs and student achievement. It's helpful when you have new board members that you mentor them and encourage them to go for training beyond the mandated training. Some of the student achievement is covered in Gov 2 now. But it's helpful to bring them along to the mindset of the board is to mentor them and provide as many opportunities as you can. And that a board should believe that every child can succeed and learn, whatever their abilities are. That was a good wrong button. So boards can develop a governance mindset towards improving and increasing student achievement. And sometimes boards create a vision statement like this towards student achievement. I'm not really sure that you need that because it's already embedded in all of your statements that you have. But sometimes it's necessary for a board to do that. So what can a board do to drive student achievement? You can develop performance-driven goals that reflect your mission, vision, and the beliefs of your community. Make sure that there are adequate resources available to achieve success. And then monitor and discuss and assess student progress. Review data frequently as it becomes available to you from the administration. And then you hold the superintendent and the board accountable towards those district goals through the evaluation process. And again, ongoing professional development for the board. These are some questions a board might want to consider as they're talking and discussing student achievement. What kinds of data are collected in your district, and are they effective in providing you with the information that you need? You want to make data-informed decisions about school improvement, teacher quality, and student achievement. And data really does help you move your students forward. Having the right data, which will show what it is that you need. And then what are you learning from the data that you get? And do you think you need more data? So the next few slides are steps that a board can take to improve student achievement. And these are also in your packet, but setting clear expectations for your students, clear and high expectations for your students. Know what the greatest student learning needs are, and ask your superintendent and your administration how to address that. You always want to believe that more is possible of your students, and communicate those high expectations to your students. And this way they're living up to your expectations. And focus on student learning and teaching towards student achievement, towards increasing student achievement. 2 is creating conditions for success. You want to, and it's like a broken record, support quality professional development for staff and board. Support and connect with district-wide leadership. Make sure that all parts of the system, of your system, are aligned to the learning needs of students. Be that curriculum, resource allocation, whatever it is, that everything is aligned to your student achievement. You're so quiet.
We're
Just concerned.
We're soaking it all in.
I don't know if we can interrupt and ask questions, or we gotta wait until the end of your presentation, because you're going through every different slide.
Yeah, I can't hear from up here.
So I don't know if you allowing us to ask questions after every slide, or because you just keep.
It's up to you. If you want to ask,
I don't want to just interrupt.
oh, well, just raise your hand or something. If you have a question,
You're
I
back
don't
in
mind.
school now, come on.
Yeah.
I know, I don't mind if you have a question.
Okay, fantastic.
And we have time at the end anyway, but, we can take questions as we go. Since you don't have another, this is it for tonight. You don't have anything else on the, usually I get 40 minutes and then you're moving on to a very full agenda, which I understand, and don't want to, go longer than is necessary so you can get to your regular agenda. But you don't have that tonight, so we can take questions whenever. All right. Hold the system accountable to your expectations, your high expectations, by using data and using it a lot. And decide and determine what you consider acceptable, an acceptable progress or progress of your students. What does that look like? And, we recommend that you monitor the progress of your students, again, through data analysis frequently. One of the roles of the board is to create a collective will, or to build a collective will by creating an awareness of the need for improving your student achievement, and by communicating it to your community through board meetings, through your website, through the strategic plan, and through periodic updates and that progress towards the goals of your all your goals that you have there. You want to create a sense of urgency around the moral purpose of student improvement, because it only will help your students if you create that purpose. And connect with you asked about connecting with the community, but really by periodically updating and reporting out on progress towards the goals, any data that comes in, when you have to report the data out to the community, it helps them understand what student achievement is. It's happy for them.
Exactly.
The community wants results.
Yeah.
They're very excited about these activities.
They are. Is there a basketball game going on?
I think it's the drama club.
It's trial.
Okay. I had one child in basketball, my one daughter. My other daughter was all in music.
Yeah.
So, it's
You
not.
get the full experience.
Yeah, and I think in basketball, because they went to Somerville, I think they played Brook. So I somehow remember being here years and years ago.
Yeah.
So. Okay. And like you're doing tonight, it's important to learn together as a board team. Does anybody go to workshop in October? I know it's hard for people that have full-time jobs, but there was a lot of wonderful opportunities there. For those we are coming up in April or May, we're doing a spring conference that is all virtual.
Okay.
So if that helps anybody, it's, I don't know if it's on our website yet, but we're also doing in April an equity workshop. That's in person. I think that's in person. But the spring conference will be virtual, so that hopefully people that can look at what the offerings are and maybe build time into your work schedule. It's not always possible. Work is work. And you're in education, so it's just hard to work around that. You also want to build a commitment to the improvement focus by sharing information and discussing at your board meetings. And not only at your board meetings, but even doing deeper dives in your committee meetings about student achievement, student improvement and student achievement.
I feel like an education committee, if we don't get some kind of a report that's connected to student achievement, it doesn't feel like a committee meeting. But it's literally every month, right?
I mean, essentially it's what your curriculum is all about, right? Is helping students achieve the best that they can achieve, whatever that might be.
I'm wondering, and I don't mean to interrupt, I apologize.
That's okay.
We always kind of look at, our benchmark tests and JGPA and JSLA, but there's a lot of work that is not really captured by the test outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering if maybe we might want to start thinking about some other sources of information that can capture all the things the district is doing to try to move the needle on achievement. Can we compile, this is the number of hours of professional development that have happened this year?
Yeah.
Or these are the trainings that have happened. Other ways to share with the community, this is how the schools are improving, not just this is what the outcome of the test was.
Right. Well, I think because it's so easy to want to hyper-focus on the test results,
Yeah.
because it's a very quantitative measure. But to your point, there are a number of other KPIs that we could pick, demonstrate the fact that whether the test results move by 0.1% or 10%, this is what we've done this year to try and move it forward.
And, you know, test results don't show, as you said, don't show everything, right? And there are some kids that, you know, it's not only being college ready, but career ready.
Yeah.
Not every child is going to go to college. They're not meant for it. And and I'm happy to see that we've now made that full circle back to college and career ready. For many years, it was, you know, everything was towards being college ready. And as parents, we know that not every kid is meant to go to college. It's just not, it's not for them, for whatever that might be. And to have your, you know, all of your high school career dedicated to a student getting into college when that's not, I mean, is that really serving that student well? If that's not what their future is, it's not what they think their future is. So I'm happy to see that college and career readiness has come back. You know, back in the days when you had auto shop and all that. I mean, when I was in high school, I took mechanical engineering and metal shop, I think. And, you know, it was right there in the school. And then we got away from that in schools, went to the VOTEX, but now it's coming back because it's part of a full service program to help your students achieve to the best that they can, whatever it is that is for them to achieve, right? Whether it's college or career. And you talk about in your curriculum committee, but it also should be discussed sometimes in your policy, because your policy should be, you should have policies focused on student achievement, and that's important as well. So we talk about talking to your fellow board members about what not only the community's hopes and aspirations are for your students, but what are yours as a board? But, you know, how do you want your students to achieve, or how, at what levels? And you want to make sure that you provide resources and programs for all students to succeed. As I said, not just college ready, but career ready.
And as you take a drink, I think that calls back to Joanna's comments, which are, you know, we've struggled specifically with what are we prioritizing. We've talked a lot as board, as administrators, but are we focusing on kids who are below grade level? What are we doing about kids who are in the middle? How do we keep kids that are above? And we have a very specific population of ELL learners that were underserved for an extended period of time because of our underfunded status. So, you know, how do we prioritize the right activities so that we move the bulk of the community forward as far and as fast as we possibly can?
And that's the age-old issue of many boards, because your populations are diverse, some more diverse than others. And so how do you provide what each population needs? You know, that's a constant discussion and amongst boards and administrators. It's just, you do the best that you can. And with the resource, and again, it comes back to budget as well. With the resources that you have available, you just, you know, if your intentions are there to do the best that you can, no matter what, it will help. And you always, I know our members of board members, you always want to do more for those populations that may be more needy for whatever reason that might be. And sometimes you simply can't because you're constricted by the budget. But the intentions are there, and you were going to say something?
Yeah, so in your experience, what have you seen that's worked?
That works?
Yeah, in your experience. I mean, you can just go whatever.
I
you
mean,
see
for
that's
student
right.
achievement?
Yeah,
I think what works is just keeping it a constant focus.
keeping what a constant focus.
Hmm?
Keeping what exactly?
Student achievement.
But student achievement can be anything. I mean, we can have achievement defined, you could define student achievement in so many different ways.
Well, that's the question. What is your definition? You, the board, what is your definition of student achievement? And it's likely very different in every district, every community,
Right,
because
so-
the challenges are different.
So let me rephrase the question. So the question would be more, like you mentioned, every board is different with different goals and different set of individuals that they have attending their schools. So in that respect, what have you seen in your experience that has worked in other districts? Perhaps maybe those are ideas that maybe something we can emulate or utilize in our own district that are ideas that we never even considered or thought about.
And I think the point that you're making, the original point is well founded, and it probably leaves Patty in a bit of a deficit to answer because she would need to know what are our
Agreed.
priorities in order to suggest strategies. So I think some of the things that we've talked about in a variety of different settings, the standardized test scores are one of them. The new evaluation protocols that we've put in place to help us understand where we are and how we make progress in the classroom, probably another one. Our level of professional development, what are we focusing on, what skills, how much time, probably another one. So maybe we would need to make the question a little bit more narrowly defined, and that would give Patty probably.
I mean,
something to-
I wanted it broad because just basically for everything that I didn't want to just narrow into one area. I just wanted to hear a large spectrum of different ideas. I mean, like from where you could just pick one or two examples. Doesn't matter where it's from or what just more of what you've experienced over the years. And just an idea to at least maybe get the gears rolling in our heads, collectively as a team.
And again, maybe it's professional development, maybe it's attendance. That's even one of the things that we've talked about is getting kids here on the day of the test and getting them appropriately oriented and motivated
Right.
to do well.
Because I will point out one other thing just to add on. Everything that you shared on the screen is everything that we're trying to do.
Oh, I know that.
I want to say 99% of what you put up on the board is what we're.
No, I know. I'm
really,
looking
really
at your stuff before I came in. I'm like, yeah, you do all this. You're
Yeah,
right.
so it's just like, now it's more like, okay, I'm seeing this and I'm like, well, this is everything that we're doing. So it's like, okay, what else can we do?
What are we missing?
What are we missing?
I think what he's saying, one of the things he's saying is, from your experience, you represent Somerset, Hunterdon, and Morris County, 56 different school districts. Is there a school district as using, for instance, TikTok and being very successful in it? We sit there and say, we never even thought of doing something like that. So I think what he's trying to get at is, what have you seen other schools do that is working, that we said, wow, I never saw that. So have you had anything that you would share?
And it doesn't even have to be recent. It could be.
Right. No, I think that successful boards do multiple things, but I think bringing your community in is also key. But I also think defining as a board and an administration what student success means to you is a start. Like, does it mean helping your ELL students to this level? Does it mean?
I think also one of the things is time. You're not going to see a great big change in a year.
I'm an impatient guy, so
I
that's my
know,
problem.
I know,
I'm
but,
expecting results overnight, and I acknowledge that.
and I think we're all in that, we all want to see that happen and happen quickly,
Yes.
but it doesn't.
Well, so I think
happen.
you have a really big advantage coming from education
Yeah.
and knowing how long things take.
It's-
And knowing, unfortunately, we know how far behind some of the programs in this district were when
Yeah.
when we
I'm so
started,
happy
so-
with what has happened in
Right,
the
it's a
short
long
time
way to-
I've been here,
yeah.
but it's,
Education moves like glacially. It's
Yeah.
like the government. Well, it is the government. Yeah.
Education, you're right, because when I just did roles and responsibilities in another district, and one slide talks about education is not like corporate America. Things happen very slowly. But if the board and the administration come up with a plan for continued improvement of staff, of students, and of the board, that is incredibly helpful. If you have the same focus and you all agree to the same focus to move programs forward, and that as a board you seek additional training and professional development towards that. I know that we do have some webinars about student achievement that you can go online and view, and we're in the process of updating to 2025 a bunch of stuff. A bunch of trainings that we do to bring things more up to date. More excited about the training we did in Friday here for for the Somerset County Student Board representatives. We're really excited about that. And we thought that it worked well. And that's also to help bring your student, not only to bring your student reps some level of understanding and comfort of what a board does and then what their roles are, but also helps, we're thinking, engage them for future community service. For, not to be, and to sit at the table and converse with adults on topics is very disconcerting for students. And when they become, when they become more comfortable. But back to, as a board and an administration, look to see what your what it is you want your students to achieve, and how you will, reach out to your administration, how they will get there. I mean, and before I did Somerset County, because I did Somerset County since Gwen moved down to Trenton, she has a new position. And before that, I did Middlesex Union and Hudson. And it's honestly, I don't know if there's any one thing that works in every district to come up with something. I know when in Jersey City, when I was working with them, because they have so many schools, right? And it's such a large city. What they were trying to do was to bring to different districts, communities, local smaller communities within Jersey City, a listening tour of the board. Not the full board, but that, not a quorum, but the superintendent and board members, several will go, and they listen to see what what was important in that community. Now, Jersey City is way larger than Brook. And, the population is all over the place in there. And that's what they found was helpful to them. Is there positive results? I don't know, because they just started that 2 years ago. I think.
Danny's thinking it just started 2 years ago.
No, but we did something similar with our strategic goal, when we did a strategic plan, so.
Right.
It's great to see other districts doing something, especially larger. And it's like, oh, we did something similar, or 50% of what we did kind of aligns with what they did. And it's like, you're on the right path and you're heading down that right path. And it's just, now it's more like, okay, what other great ideas are out there that maybe we didn't?
But
I think we just saw one.
When I started, and as I looked through your strategic plan, your district goals, your board goals, and they all align, which is, and you're right, you are moving forward, but honestly, that is something you've done right. There's not a lot of districts that have that, where they all align, where there's student achievement, some student achievement goal in every one of them, which then shows that it's a focus of your community, of your board, towards student achievement. But I think to come up with what I have seen works in some places, every community really is very different, even in Somerset County, right? There's no two communities that really have the same issues or the same population or this, whatever. So it's a struggle for boards, but that's continued discussion to come up with, okay, with the, certainly with the guidance of your administrator, of your superintendent, because they're in the trenches, he's in it every day. Looking at what needs to get done and what can be helpful. But having that discussion, maybe a board retreat to talk simply about student achievement, and what that means to you as a board and to the community, and what the administration can recommend or see that are issues that need to be addressed or programs they want to bring in. But again, you do a lot of, you are really a high functioning board from my perspective, on moving forward and improving your student achievement.
Thank you.
I wish I could give you something specific other than what Jersey City did, which, to be seen. But Hudson County is far more partisan political in school boards than they are Hudson and Union, my experience, certainly than here, Somerset County. So that it's hard to say, and maybe just frequent discussion topics at a board meeting. Every quarterly maybe, or just talking about student achievement. This is where we were, this is where we are, and this is where we're going, we want to be, and this is how we're going to get there. That keeps everybody focused, but it also provides your community with what it is that you as a board and you as a district are working towards. And some of that even fits in with this slide, that, providing resources for all students to achieve. And, you see the list up there, special needs, ELL, and whatever that might be. And understanding budgetary implications, because they're everywhere. Everything you do has a budget implication. And so you have to just be aware of that. And listen to the recommendations of your superintendent for updating things like your professional development plan, whatever curriculum writing, if you have a lot of people that, if it's time, a lot of boards have like a 5-year cycle of curriculum revision, and so pay attention to that and don't skimp on that, and listen to the recommendations of your superintendent, including technology. When I came in tonight, I hear you have a lot of new equipment for technology, which is wonderful in this day and age, and that's not always easy to get, to go there. Show them on the right slide. So the ultimate goal, your ultimate goal as a board, is to have integrated strategies to improve student achievement. Setting, as I said earlier, college, not only college, but also career-ready standards, so that there is something for all your students. And then develop an accountability system that measures performance and activates support for intervention, which is key. As we all know, if you can provide intervention early enough, then it is most helpful for the students. And then just by keeping student achievement an important part of your work, will only help your students succeed and achieve the best that they can. And then here's our slide for questions. But I don't mind taking during, guys, I said, because you didn't have a meeting after. And I know you wanted more specific, and I'll go back and see if I can find any very specific examples. Actually, I'll put it out on to my colleagues and see if anybody in their travels has had something very specific that works. But again, every community is very different.
And listen, if you don't get a super strong response from your colleagues, perhaps it's something we might want to consider putting forward as an item for the upcoming school boards conference in terms of
Yeah.
doing a case study from Brook and the way that we've achieved alignment among all the levels of goals. And, you know, what our administrative team has really done to make that happen in conjunction with the board. So I'd be interested in finding out, even if you don't get a great response, I think there's a great way to move forward with that. Yeah.
I kind of like that. And actually, that might be also something that you could bring to Somerset County School Boards Association to have just open discussion amongst the boards that are there. What has worked in improving student achievement in your district and what hasn't? That's a very good idea.
I will suggest to Karen and to, I
Right.
can't remember our president's name right now.
Ardalan.
Part of this.
Yeah.
If we,
Yeah, I know they have for the rest of the year, but their topics set. But I like that, you know, if you have anything that's successful, you know, for student achievement, you might want to consider posing it as a session at workshop. But I also like having the open discussion for different boards to come together. I'll just say something, maybe for the other sessions that have all that. That's a good point, that to hear from other districts what has been successful for them and why, and how they were able to accomplish that. You know, did it require redirecting resources from somewhere else? Whatever might have worked for them. That's a good idea, though. I like that.
The other thing is that to build on top of what our president mentioned is we live in a day and age where it's a connected society.
Yes.
And this is one of the things that's probably disconnecting with a lot of the boards, is there's nothing really that's connecting with others, or I don't want to say there's no avenues, because there's plenty of technology out there that allows other boards to connect, but it's more subjects or questions to discuss about, topics to discuss about, that can provide for areas of communication and areas to foster creativity. And, you know, we're a small board of maybe about 9 or 10 individuals, but by collaborating with other boards, we expand the thought process. We come up and potentially can come up with 1 or 2 other creative ideas that may not work for one, but at least some type of idea that we could take from there and build on it. And I think it's a great idea. So thank you, Rich, for that.
And I'll tell you what, the other thing you can do, there's if you've been on the connections, pose the question on connections and see what other boards members reply. You know, that's an avenue for you to do. Also, any county school board meeting within the state, you can go to, and they're all virtual for the winter months, but after that, the rest of the year, it's all hybrid. So if you see a topic down in Cape May, like student achievement, you're welcome to register. There's no cost to it. It's included in your dues to register and attend that meeting virtually. And sometimes, you know, as student achievement, as I've said, is very different everywhere you go. But sometimes it's interesting to hear what they have to say, especially, you know, Cape May, and you go up to Bergen County and see how things are there with 77 school districts. But those are all available, you know, the webinars, any county meeting is available to you. But go pose the question on connections and see what different people respond. That's always it, because periodically I go in and look at it. Somebody else monitors it, but again, it's password protected, so it's not open to the general public. But there have been some interesting concepts and questions on there that have gotten different answers from throughout the state.
Before we let her go, any other questions or comments for Patty? I thought this was very good. I know you had maybe lower expectations coming in, but how much we learned, but I thought the discussion was.
Thought provoking.
There you go.
Well, it reinforces what you're doing, so hopefully encourage you to continue and improve on what you're doing. Because again, it's not always happening that a board is disaligned with things, so.
Always happened here.
Yeah, exactly.
We haven't always been this aligned.
Glad it isn't.
This is a recent development.
All right, I'll turn this off.
Okay.
So do we have to, any more training we gotta do?
I don't know, we have
We'll
to,
follow up on that.
we have to find out about that.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, that was your.
Patty,
Oh, I'm going all the way back to
Patty, one important perspective too is the patients involved in the process, because we're not far from really assessing when we first came in where we are, and we learned a lot through that process, and then a lot of investment was made to improve student performance, but like you mentioned in the beginning, it doesn't turn around right away in the school district, and
No.
it could take a couple of years before we really see some of the results come through student
Yes.
performance. Right now, I think like we're in a green leaf section of spring
I think
where
it's
we're
5
beginning to see some buds,
Mhm.
but it hasn't really popped yet. But,
Yeah.
it's
I like
coming.
that
It just takes a
analogy,
while.
the green leaf section of spring or the buds. But you're right, as we said before, education is a long process. Change does not happen quickly. It just by the very nature of it, because you have to not only do all the research on what needs to happen, you have to get buy-in from a lot of different stakeholder groups to move anything forward. And that can be a long process. So, but I like that analogy.
One of the big initiatives we had since Dr. Freeman came in was to change the schedule.
Mhm.
And we're right there now. We're trying to get buy-in from the stakeholders. That's a big piece.
That's a huge change, because people don't want, and as with almost any organization, but maybe particularly in education, people don't like change. And so you have to really try and bring enough people along with you by including them in the discussion early on and getting their buy-in along the way. It's not easy, nor is it quick. But when you get to that point where you can make the change and hopefully go smoothly, everything has little glitches, but it makes it then all worthwhile, all that early effort. But it changes hard, but it does take a lot of effort. The rewards are great. You see the change implemented, and then you see how it impacts your students. It's even better.
Mr. Gorski, is there anything specific we need to do to close the meeting?
We
Motion
have
to
to have
adjourn.
a public forum, so just ask, I don't see anybody here for the public forum. They have the right to speak, and then just motion to adjourn.
Mr. Val, did I hear you make a motion to adjourn?
So you have to make sure, does anybody want to speak first? Anybody here? Open it up to the public.
There you go.
Seeing none.
Seeing none.
All right, there you go. Motion to
There
adjourn.
you go, Mr. Val. Second for Mr. Dawson,
Second.
right there you go. All in favor. Great job. Thank you again.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, everybody, for coming and attending.
I just noticed this